What's up, everyone? You're here with Goran from Pickdawgz, and thank you for joining me here for your free picks for Saturday, January 27th. Well, guys, there's a lot of games to talk about, and because there's no EPL, I have to talk about the FA Cup matchups, and it really sickens me. I hate that competition so much, especially the early stages. We've seen what happened on Friday. In four games, we've seen like three goals. Three of those were draws, and Manchester City scored a late goal against Tottenham to get a win. Uh, we lost that one as a free pick, and then we lost the one in Germany where Eintracht barely beat Mainz 1-0. I don't think that Mainz even had a shot on target in that game, which was highly disappointing to me. Anyways, we move on to the Saturday, guys. And on the brighter side, there is a parlay of the day at the end of this video. Another five-legger pays out at plus 389, if I'm not mistaken. So stay tuned for that, guys. And of course, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the Pick Dawgz YouTube channel because there's a lot more free picks to come. For my best bets and for all of my bets for this upcoming weekend, you can subscribe for one of those 3-day passes or even 7-day passes if that's something you want to do. Maybe even get a 30-day pass if that's something you want. And to get there, simply click the link in the description, and that will get you up to my page where you can do that. I believe we have 18 free picks in this video, guys, and we are gonna kick it off with the FA Cup. Everton versus Luton Town, and I honestly think this is gonna be a closer match than the books might think. So as we can see, Everton is a pretty heavy favorite, but they only just recently got back to the winning track by beating Crystal Palace 1-0. As far as Luton goes, as we can see, they have lost only one of their last six games. Undefeated in their last three games. They have been quite solid defensively, and I believe they could have a decent chance potentially in this game, but I think it's going to be a close one. I think that both teams will be slightly more focused on the defense. And with that in mind, I decided to take first half draw at plus 148. For our next FA Cup matchup, we have Sheffield United playing against Brighton, and I believe this is going to be a pretty one-sided match where Brighton will dominate the possession, they will dominate every aspect of the game, and let's just hope they will be more effective than they have been against Wolverhampton last week in a game which ended in a 0-0 draw. So. In this game, I'm putting my faith in Brighton, guys, and I'm going to take Brighton to win and over 2.5 goals at plus 116. And for the final pick of the FA Cup, we have Fulham hosting Newcastle. And strictly from a value point, guys, since Fulham played a game just maybe 3 days ago against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, I believe that they will be very, very tired in this one. They are not a team that's used to playing multiple games a week. And despite Newcastle being in a pretty bad form, despite losing five of their last six games, I believe this is a very, very good spot for them to bounce back. So, strictly from the value standpoint, guys, I'm taking Newcastle on the money line, and that is at plus 123 at the moment. We are moving on to the Spanish La Liga, where we have Real Sociedad playing against Rayo Vallecano at home, and Real Sociedad has been doing a decent job this season. They have been quite competitive. They are on a three-game winning streak right now, and all of those three wins were when playing on the road. Now, when playing at home in La Liga, Real Sociedad has been conceding slightly over a goal on average per game, but they have been scoring almost two goals. And when we combine that with the fact that Rayo Vallecano uh, hasn't been scoring much on the road, they are averaging less than score a goal per game. They have also been quite solid defensively overall, but their form is in a bit of a downfall as they've conceded 5 goals in their last two games, and they are on a two-game losing streak. So. Uh, Once again, I think it's going to be a very tight game, but with the way Sociedad has been playing this season, I think that they can score at least twice in this game. And for that reason, I'm going to take Real Sociedad team total over 1.5 goals at minus 105. Real Madrid is traveling to Las Palmas, and even though they are winning games, I honestly did not see the game or the clips from that game against Almeria, which Real Madrid turned around after losing 2-0. They in the end got a win 3-2. Apparently, they have been helped by the refs quite a bit. I honestly haven't been looking at that at all. Might be the case, might not be, but Real Madrid has won five of their last six games. We know what they can do. We know what good of a team they are. They will be without Jude Bellingham for this game, who is suspended because of the yellow cards. Alaba and Militao are still out, and Courtois, of course. Las Palmas on the other side is now on a two-game winning streak, and during this two-game winning streak, they've kept two clean sheets. One against Villarreal, and the latest one was against Rayo Vallecano. And on top of that, they have scored five goals in those two games. Now, are they in a good enough of a form at the moment to score against Real Madrid? I believe they are. As we can see, Real Madrid is a bit unstable defensively, and for that reason, both teams to score at minus 115. That's gonna be my pick for this one. Maybe even both teams to score and Real Madrid to win, which should have a lot of value and should be a nice plus money for like half a unit, maybe even a bit less. Barcelona and Villarreal is another matchup in La Liga that we have on Saturday, guys, and I'm gonna keep this one very, very simple. I know that Villarreal is a horrible team right now. I know that they are struggling defensively. They're not scoring a lot of goals on their own, but luckily for them, Barcelona is a horrible, horrible, horrible defensive team. And this is coming from a Barcelona fan, guys. Yes, they can score goal for sure, but this season they simply cannot outscore anyone, and last season, they were lucky enough to have the best defense in the league, which for some reason, only known to maybe them and I don't know who else, that defense is completely gone. They have the same players. They even have some better players than they had last season. The only difference that I could think of is the lack of Sergio Busquets, who went to Inter Miami. And if he was such a key factor for Barcelona's defense, I honestly can't comprehend that. So, keeping it simple, guys, both teams to score an over 2.5 minus 143. This is going to be my pick for this game. Mallorca is hosting Real Betis in the last game of the day in La Liga. And you know what? Mallorca is in quite solid form right now, undefeated in their last five games, three wins out of those five games. While Betis is coming off of a loss to Barcelona 4-2, and they have only one win in their last six games. Now, Betis is more than a capable team of scoring goals, and they definitely can do it. But the problem is that they have been struggling a lot on the road this season. They're averaging less than score a goal per game, conceding about 1.6 goals on average when playing on the road. And now they're playing against this Mallorca team, the team that, granted, hasn't been scoring a lot of goals this season, but with Betis' sloppy defense on the road and their currently bad form, I think that Mallorca can get on the scoreboard in this one. So this is gonna be another game where I'm gonna go with both teams to score, and at the moment is plus 106. We are moving on to German Bundesliga, guys, where we have Augsburg hosting Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich barely was able to beat Union Berlin this midweek. They did get a win in the end. It was 1-0, but barely, barely. And they were very close to another disappointing result. I've read that the only reason that Thomas Tuchel is safe as the head coach is because of the fact that the board doesn't want to turn Bayern Munich into the club that simply fires coach for every bad result or whatnot. But I think they should do it. They fired Nagelsmann when he had great results, when he was 8-0 in the Champions League, where he was scoring a shit ton of goals, and he was only a couple of points behind Borussia Dortmund, and yet they fired him. Now they have Thomas Tuchel. The team is performing worse than ever. They are struggling with efficiency. They are not defensively solid, and they are quite inconsistent. On top of that, they had a very bad group stage in the Champions League. Yes, they got through it, but only because of their quality compared to some other teams. But if they plan to fire the coach, I think they should fire this one. That's the only way they will try to compete for the top of Bundesliga and do something in the Champions League. Augsburg, on the other side, has won two of their last three games. They're actually quite solid when it comes to scoring goals, and they're actually quite solid when it comes to defending. They've kept a couple of clean sheets, and they haven't conceded a lot of goals. The Leverkusen barely beat them 1-0, and they have just beaten Borussia Mönchengladbach 2-1. So With all that being said, I know that there's some value in Bayern to win an over 2.5, maybe over 3.5 and whatnot. I decided to go with a different route, and I decided to take Augsburg to get over 2.5 shots on target at minus 130. They are playing at home. Like I said, they are solid offensively, and Bayern is not a good team when it comes to defending at the moment. So that's going to be my reasoning for this pick. Werder Bremen and Freiburg is the next matchup we have to talk about. And you know what? Werder Bremen, they have beaten Bayern Munich 1-0 last week. It was a huge, huge result for them. And this is now their second positive result in a row, while losing only one of their last 6 games. Freiburg, on the other side, did get a 3-2 win against Hoffenheim. They're now undefeated in their last 3 games. They're a very solid team, but a very schizophrenic team that tends to make a lot of mistakes and tends to lose a lot of focus. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game where I don't think we'll see much defense. So with that in mind, both teams to score an over 2.5 at minus 113. That seems to be the way to go. And I definitely like the price a lot. Hoffenheim and Heidenheim are facing off, and Hoffenheim is the home team in this matchup, but Hoffenheim cannot keep a clean sheet if their lives depend on it right now. Heidenheim sure has only one win on the road this season. They have 2 draws and 6 losses, but Heidenheim on the other side is undefeated in their last 6 games. While Hoffenheim hasn't beaten anyone in their last 5, as a matter of fact, they are on a 3 game losing streak right now. And during this 3 game losing streak, they have conceded 7 goals. So this is gonna be another game, guys. Both teams to score in over 2.5, minus 141. Like I said, Hoffenheim cannot keep a clean sheet. They can score goals, but defensively they are a very, very poor team, and I think that Heidenheim can take advantage of that. Stuttgart and Leipzig might be one of the best games of the day in Bundesliga, and Stuttgart has proved that without all the players that they're missing who went to play for the African Cup of Nations and the Asian leagues, Asian games and whatnot, they are definitely missing those players a lot. And Guerassi is the player that they are missing the most. He is their leading goal scorer, and without him, they have scored only 1 goal in 2 games. They have lost to Gladbach, they have lost to Bochum, and I believe they will lose to Leipzig as well. So to keep it simple, guys, I'm taking Leipzig on the money line, who had a great game against Leverkusen, but they fell short and they ended up losing that game. However, I think they will bounce back in this one, and I think this is going to be a very, very important win for Leipzig on the road. Wolfsburg is hosting Cologne, and Wolfsburg has been getting some momentum slowly. They are now on a 2 game draw streak, undefeated in their last 3 games. While Cologne still one of the worst teams on the road this season, with only 1 win, 2 draws, and 6 losses. Only 4 scored goals in 9 games. And I know that Wolfsburg is a very bad defensive team at the moment. They have conceded at least a goal in each of their last 4 games in a row. 2 of those 4 games have gone over 2.5. Both teams have scored in each of those 4 games. But I think this is a great spot for Wolfsburg to get back on the winning track. So minus 121, I think that's a great price. It's minus 120 at the moment. I think that's a great price for the home team, the better team, and the team that has been a little bit more consistent than Cole has so far this season, especially when playing at home. So I'm taking Wolfsburg on the money line. And the last game of the day in Bundesliga is between Bayer Leverkusen and Borussia Mönchengladbach. Borussia Mönchengladbach can be a solid team, can be a very good team that can beat pretty much anyone in Bundesliga, but they don't show it often. And they are now coming off of a loss against Augsburg 2-1 at home. Now, that's a problem for them because they have built something. They were on a 2 game winning streak and then they lose at home to Augsburg. Leverkusen, on the other side, is leading Bundesliga right now. They are the best team in the league by far. Not even Bayern is close. The way they are playing, the way how effective they are, the way they create their chances, is the way they play everything defensively, offensively, and even though they're missing a bunch of players because of the injuries, and some of the players are still in the African Cup of Nations, uh, I feel like Leverkusen is gonna get this one. But minus 400, that means that we have to take Leverkusen to win an over 3.5 or something similar to that, which I really do not dare take because I could potentially see this game going under as well. Even though the last 5 games in this matchup have gone over 2.5, and 4 of those 5 have gone over 3.5 as well. So I could see this going either way, to be honest. But I decided to take first half total over 1.5 goals at minus 106. I think that both teams will try to get on the scoreboard as early as possible, especially Leverkusen, who has been struggling with some pressure in the second half. So I believe that they will try to relieve that and get the job done as soon as possible. And then we'll see if Borussia Mönchengladbach can react to that and which way they will react. In the Italian Serie A, guys, we have three games to talk about on Saturday. The first one is between Atalanta and Udinese. Udinese is a decent team. I think they have quality, but they have been falling short of a positive result constantly, and that's a problem with the depth. And they still have a few injured players, which could definitely help them a lot. But I think that Atalanta, with the way they have been playing, especially at home this season, I think they have this one in their pockets. Atalanta haven't lost to Udinese in their last six home games, and so far at home this season, they have seven wins, one draw, and two losses, and they have scored 22 goals in 10 games. That's an average of 2.2 scored goals per game, while defensively they are conceding zero point 0.7 goals on average when playing at home. Now, when we combine that with the fact that Udinese is scoring zero point 0.8 goals on the road and is conceding 1.6 goals on the road, I think this one's all Atalanta. So Atalanta minus one, minus 134. I think the least we're gonna get out of this one is gonna be a push, guys. Juventus is hosting Empoli, and they are a pretty heavy favorites against one of the worst teams in the league, who granted is coming off of a win against Monza 3-0. But I think this is gonna be a huge letdown spot for them. Juventus undefeated at home so far this season, 8 wins and two draws, excuse me. And on top of that, they're scoring 1.6 goals on average when playing at home, and even better defensively, they have conceded only 4 goals in 10 home games. Yes, Juventus is missing a few players because of the injuries, but they have been missing those players quite a while now, and they are still performing really, really well. So, Juventus minus 1.5 at minus 118. That's going to be my pick for this one. And the last game of the day in Serie A is between Milan and Bologna, which is a bit of a derby at the northern Italy, guys. And Bologna is now on a four-game streak without a win. They lost three of those four games, while Milan on the other side actually looks quite unbeatable right now. They have beaten Udinese 3-2, they have beaten Roma 3-1, and the only positive thing for Bologna might be the fact that Milan is conceding goals quite a lot as of late, and they have been doing it quite consistently. But we are getting Milan at home at minus 148. I simply cannot walk away from that. Milan is the better team. They are the deeper team. They are more experienced team, and they are playing at home. And as a matter of fact, they are in a much, much better form right now. So I'm taking Milan at home at minus 148. I would snag that price as soon as possible before it goes up. Off to the French League One, guys. We have Nice playing against Metz, and Nice as the best home team in the league, probably uh, the best defensive home team in the league for sure. They have conceded only 2 goals in 9 home games so far this season. They have scored 11 in those 9 games. Still undefeated at home. Keeping it very, very simple, guys. I'm going to take, well, it's not that simple. It's a bit of a risky pick, I do admit. And I don't often take this one. I am not a fan of it, but this one smells like the under to me personally, and I think it's gonna be win for Nice. So I'm gonna take Nice to win to nil at minus 108. Hopefully Metz doesn't show up all of a sudden on the road, and hopefully Nice's defense is gonna be solid, and they are gonna keep playing well at home in this game as well. Marseille and Monaco. Now, this is the one that was a huge head scratcher for me, guys. When I look at the injury report for, well, not just the injury report, and all the missing players as well for Marseille. So, they are missing six players who have gone to play for the African Cup of Nations. Uh, they have a couple of suspended players, and they have four injured players on the injury list. Now, I'm not saying that some of these players might not be in the lineup and whatnot, because that could change, but they are missing an entire team of players, an entire starting 11 uh, from their lineup. And that is going to be a huge problem for Gennaro Gattuso as the head coach. Marseille did lose to Rennes after a penalty shootout in the French Cup. Before that, they barely got a draw against Strasbourg at home, 1-1. And Monaco, on the other side, has won their last four games on the road in a row. On top of that, they have scored a bunch of goals in those games on the road. On the road, and I know that they're also missing some players. They have a few injuries. They have a few players playing in the African Cup of Nations. But overall, I think that Monaco, with the current lineup, has a little bit more quality than Marseille does. And for that reason, guys, the prices are actually quite different at the moment. It's plus 185 on Monaco on the money line, and I decided to go with it. I believe at some point I saw it at plus 200. That's why I said that the prices are different. But when I was able to take this pick, it was plus 85 on Monaco on the money line on the road. And I decided to pull the trigger on it. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be easy win for Monaco from at all, but I believe that they are the better team at the moment with more quality in the starting 11, and I think that should be enough for them to get a nice win on the road against a very huge rival like Marseille. And we are up to the parlay of the day, guys. Five-legger, like I said. Hoffenheim, Heidenheim over 2.5 goals. Leverkusen versus Gladbach over 2.5 goals. Juventus money line. Barcelona versus Villarreal, both teams to score. And in Belgium Pro League, Charleroi versus Club Brugge over 1.5 goals at plus 395. Like I said, guys, five-legger pays up nicely. We've hit three out of last four. Let's get back to the winning track. Let's get this nice winner, guys. I'm gonna go with a full unit on it, and hopefully we see a nice winner for us on Saturday. So, like I said, Hoffenheim versus Heidenheim over 2.5 goals. Leverkusen versus Gladbach over 2.5 goals. Juventus on the money line. Barcelona versus Villarreal, both teams to score. And in the Belgian Pro League, Charleroi versus Club Brugge over 1.5 goals in a game. That's it, everyone. Have a great day. Good luck with all of your bets. And of course, stay tuned for those three picks for Sunday and for the rest of the next week. I think it's going to be fairly busy. So good luck. Have a great day. And I'll see you soon with more free picks.